But let me pick your brain on this first player. So Trey Lance is a surefire elite QB1. Are you buying that take?
So it's so funny because I was just this last episode of The Undrafted, we closed the show on Trey Lance questions. And then I just did Nick Botiford's pod, Nerding Out, last night. And this was the first question he asked me. And here I am again being asked about Trey Lance. And my question to anybody who is listening is very simple. Is Trey Lance a good NFL quarterback? In other words, we don't know that. We do know, and so people will be like, obviously, dude, he's going to put up a rushing floor, all that, right? It's like, yeah. If he is a good NFL quarterback, then he is a top 5 dynasty superflex asset, of course, because if he's good, then he's got the rushing floor, the whole thing. I get it, but we don't know if he's like I say it every time. Eventually, it's 3rd and 8.
Right.
And if you've got Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers on 3rd and 8, you're like, yeah, dude. Joe Burrow, right? You're like, Justin Herbert, we're gonna get this done. But if you have Jalen Hurts, you're still a little unsure. Now Jalen Hurts brings other things to the table, no doubt, but on 3rd and 8, you're like, oh, let's see here, man. And where is Trey Lance gonna fall on that spectrum, right? Is he gonna be awful, mediocre, or is he good? Like, imagine if he's Joe Burrow as a passer. Well, then you've got like the most elite dynasty asset there could be. I get that. I totally see that. But what if he's not very good? Then San Francisco is going to be looking to go to now, especially Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's the floor. That's where you have to look there, which is why I think he's properly priced in these redraft leagues. I think he's like right around quarterback 10 to 13. Isn't that about right?
I think so.
I think in some ways he's priced with that floor, but certainly not in Dynasty. When you talk about Dynasty, he's not priced with any floor in mind whatsoever.
No, he's certainly way up at the top. I know that in many rankings he's top 10. I think for some guys are being a bit tepid. He's back half of the top 10, but obviously the rushing upside is what keeps him in the conversation, right? I mean, it's 100% without a doubt the reason that he is in every conversation. But what I found interesting and what I think puts a lot of pressure on him was the re-signing of Jimmy Garoppolo. Like that was one of the more curious decisions that San Francisco made because we know that Trey Lance is going to make mistakes. This is essentially his rookie year. If this was baseball, this would be his rookie year, right? So it's essentially his rookie year, and he's going to make mistakes. We have 1 year of collegiate football, basically. And even in that year, you go back to Pro Football Focus and look at the data. He struggled versus UC Davis. He struggled versus Missouri State. He struggled versus South Dakota State. So there were a lot of questions about his true capability. Because remember, just because a couple years has gone by, that doesn't negate the fact that he was considered a raw prospect coming into the league, right? Like San Francisco taking him where they did was still a raw player.
Yes. And I agree. Like that's my whole point is like he hasn't necessarily shown like, oh, he's definitely good as an NFL quarterback. And you bring up Jimmy G. I think there's obviously some gamesmanship there, especially with Seattle. I think there was word out that Seattle was going to sign him, and they were like, "No, thank you." So, but look at his like 3 starts last year, or his 3 games he played. Like 2 of the games he played, he was under 52% completion percentage. That's not great. So he was pretty darn good though, actually throwing the football last year. He basically was like had 100 quarterback rating. His quarterback rating was 97.3. So, he had a lot of big plays to sort of buoy that. We'll see, man. If you ask me, gun to the head, what does Dwayne McFarland say? Girl Scout with a water gun to the head. I'm gonna say he's gonna be good, but I also am just not sure. I think that's kind of where I'm at. But if you just ask me straight away, he's gonna be good. But the cold water is ready to fall on your head this year. If he all of a sudden comes out the gate, they're 1-3, and he has a couple of those just difficult games, especially if, like, their defense is so good, their rushing attack is so good. I think that's what sort of helped him be successful. That's part of this thing. I mean, if you switched him and Trevor Lawrence, how would you feel about this whole thing, right? It'd be a lot different conversation.
Yeah. I mean, that's my argument with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, right? It's that there's some confidence built into that. Obviously, Trey Lance, the legs keep him in the conversation. And as Blitzing Buzzard said, I had it up on the screen there a moment ago, said having 3 of the best yards after the catch pass catchers in the league will make his job not require many precision pass attempts. That's probably true. Now,
yes,
it's less of an argument whether Trey Lance will be a surefire QB1 because his legs alone are going to make him a QB1. I mean, he's going to be right in there as a QB1 with his legs. The argument, which we're going to get to soon, is what happens to the other guys around him because he's eating up 11.3 rush attempts per game, which with Jimmy Garoppolo was only 2.5. So those rush attempts now, once upon a time, were pass attempts. So the assumption that all these guys are going to flourish beneath them is probably not totally accurate.